Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. This might look similar to the Sean Strickland versus Jared Cannonier fight. And Jared Cannonier won that fight, but most people thought that Sean won. Or at least a lot of people thought that Sean won. But here's the difference. If Sean Strickland can replicate that same exact performance, or rather if he could get that same exact fight but just switch Jared Cannonier with Dricus, the judges are going to let Sean keep his belt, because the contender has to take the belt from the champion. He has to have a convincing win, because if it's close, the judges tend to lean towards the champion. Now let's rank the least likely scenario to the most likely scenario for this fight. So the number one least likely scenario is that Sean Strickland knocks out Dricus du Plessis in the first round. Why is that very unlikely? Because as Sean Strickland himself says, he punches like a woman. Those are his own words. And I don't think he's going to get a head kick knockout, because he had the motorcycle accident and he injured his knee. I know he has the teeps, but he never throws head kicks. And maybe he can knock out Dricus slamming him to the ground, slamming his head to the ground. Maybe that's a possibility. And he could also get a TKO it could look similar to the way Sean was piecing up his knee at the end of the first round. That could happen earlier on, and he might get a doctor's stoppage win over Dricus. So it's possible, but unlikely. Now for the number two least likely scenario. The number two least likely scenario is Dricus winning by decision. Why is it unlikely? Because if it goes to the end of the fifth round, then most likely Sean is having his fight. He's using his Philly shell, he's piecing up Dricus, and if it goes to a decision, it's likely that Sean wins. But it's possible that it's a close fight and Sean lands more shots, but Dricus lands the most powerful and has some control time. And so because it's close, but maybe it's not too close and they give it to Dricus, but it's unlikely. The third least likely scenario is Sean Strickland winning by fifth round TKO. The fourth least likely scenario, which is actually quite likely, is Dricus winning by knockout or by finishing the first two rounds. And the fifth least likely, or the most likely scenario, is Dricus du Plessis getting the finish in rounds 3 to 5. At least this is how the world perceives this fight. As to what I think is going to happen, I think it might be a 5-round decision, and I'm leaning towards Sean. But it's also a possibility that Dricus has some moderate success trying to get the takedown, and as Sean is getting up, Dricus lands the punch. And I think Dricus might come out wild like Benoit Saint-Denis and then find that that's not going to work because Sean is using his Philly shell and landing too much. And then it's going to become more steady, and then it's going to become wild again, and he takes Sean down. And as Sean is getting up, he lands something, or he lands quite a few, and he gets the finish. So that's possible. But right now I'm leaning towards Sean 5-round decision win. Like and subscribe.